everyone, Elizabeth here with this week's episode of AnimeCons TV. In this week's episode, I'll be taking a trip down memory lane and looking at some of my old costumes and kind of just giving a general reaction to them, things I did well at the time, things I could have done better. So I'm going to get started with some that I've pulled out, and I'm going to tell you all about them. So this first one, and this most obnoxious green you've ever seen. So this is my Rita Skeeter from Harry Potter. So I actually found this fabric while I was on vacation in Oregon and at a Joann's. Yes, I went to Joann's while I was on vacation. And found this, and it was perfect color for Rita Skeeter, so I bought it. One of my favorite things about this is the top is lined in beetle fabric. So looking at this, it's pretty good. Like, I did a nice facing on the skirt. Nice job on the zipper. This fabric was a pain to sew with, I remember. I had to take in some big adjustments on the inside. This is some big seam allowance here, which is fine, because then I can always adjust it back if I need to. The hem. Oh, it's my lazy hem where I fuse it instead of actually stitching it. I do that a lot. The jacket, I remember looking everywhere for these feathers to put on it. So what I did, I used to do this a lot at the time, is it's a faux finish in the front, and it velcros in place. And that never really stayed well. If I were to redo this, I would definitely just put in real buttonholes instead of having that. I just remember every time I wore it, I had trouble with it staying closed, so I don't think I would do that again. The next one is, this is an old one. Oof. This is Utena from Revolutionary Girl Utena. Again, I did the thing with the faux buttons in the front. I might have kept it with this one. This one didn't have as much problem, I think, because I used snaps instead of Velcro to keep it closed. This is clearly before I knew how to do mitered corners, because my corners aren't mitered, which is fine. Did a good job on the collar there. I did a decent job on the bias tape. This is store-bought bias tape instead of made bias tape, which, this was just a haul costume. I would probably do that again since it's red. Red is easy to find. The pocket squares came out really nice. Oh, those are fused on. They're already coming apart. I would probably stitch those down, probably just by hand. Let me see one thing I never do on all my costumes. Oh wow, yeah, I actually did serge the armholes. I usually skip this. For some reason, I'm just running out of time, and that's the last thing that I do. That's actually not bad. One other thing I would do next time is I would probably line it. This is unlined. I think this was during my phase where I hated lining things, which I still hate lining, but it would give it a nice, better weight to it. I think it would hang better if that were lined. These are the shorts that went with it. I didn't finish the top of them, which, you don't see it, so that's not the big deal of not finishing it. Stretchy, but I definitely did not use a stretch stitch. I just used a regular stitch, so they're not pulling as much as they should. But this is just a basic two-piece shorter legging pattern where you just put one into the other, so it just has the stitch down the middle and down each of the pant leg, but because I didn't use a stretch stitch, those have popped in a couple places. Okay, next is, I'll put that aside for right now. Okay, in this box, this is Subaru from Fushigi Yugi, when I went through my Fushigi Yugi phase. These pants aren't bad. A little gathered ruffle at the bottom. They're just, I remember making these from just a pajama pant pattern. Probably should have put pockets in it. Also, one thing I'm really bad at is when I'm making pants is not marking the front and back. And one way you can tell is you kind of hold it up and pull it towards you. This middle crotch seam in the front is shorter than it is in the back, so this is the front and back, but don't be like me, label your stuff. This was the shirt. This is, see, unfinished seam on the sleeves. I do that all the time. I'm not going to try this on, but I bet you anything. One thing that took me a really long time to get used to was whenever I use commercial patterns, which I do a lot. Well, I mean, this is a sweatshirt, so it doesn't count. But the sleeve would end up here. Like, the sleeve seam would end up here if I made it without any modifications. It should be closer to here. And I bet you anything on this, that's the case. Oh, oh no, I just top stitched the lining in place. So this is lined a little bit. I just lined the top part of it. Again, the bottom is just serged because that just went right into the pants. You didn't see it. This is dirty. It's too bad. And oh, I would totally do this different now. I would probably put a lace up in the back or something, but the back, to get in and out of it, I just put a big ugly separating zipper in the back. Oh boy. That was not one put in well either. It's very wrinkly. But you didn't see it! And it was just a fun haul costume, so it doesn't really matter. This was the waist portion of it. If I were to remake this again, I might put some boning in it to give it a little bit of structure. It's nice to line some glitter on it from something. Yeah, it was nice heavyweight fabric. Oh, yeah, I would have interfaced it too. Ooh, what was I thinking with this one? But I really liked how this came out. This was the, like, tunic thing that went over it. I made this from modified, I think, rope pattern or something. And it has piping in it. I bought the piping. But this came out nice. The corners are nice and clean. This came out really nice. Lined with this bright pink. So when I put them together, you can see here, this is also unfinished, where you can see the serge. I was lazy and just made it white. But you don't see it, so it's something that I just hid behind. Remember, if you're not competing, it's cool to take little shortcuts like that if you don't see it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Princess Kaki. I really loved this costume. Okay, one thing I did was I didn't take out the paper behind this thing that I used a lot of applique to put that together. Also, this isn't boned either. I should have done that. How did I get in and out of this? Oh, this has a separating zipper on the side. What's a little better about that one is this one's smaller. So it wasn't, because you could see it on the side mostly. But my satin stitching is actually really nice on this. I would have probably done something different with the black trim here. It's just ribbon, which is folded in a weird way. Also, this is coming up. But yeah, I definitely would have boned this somehow to give it more structure. That's something I'm much better with now. But the stitching is really nice. This border on the bottom, I think, is just a big thing of bias tape. And a nice big mitered corner in the front. I did really like wearing this. Maybe this is something one day I will remake now that I know what I'm doing a lot better. And definitely not leave the paper in there. What was I thinking? These were finished with a zigzag fit stitch on my sewing machine, which is nice, but now that I have a serger that does a rolled hem, I would probably do a rolled hem on that instead with more threads. Some of the accessories for that. Here's one of the sleeves. Ooh, it's attached to... I really kind of half-assed these cherry blossoms. They're just cut out of craft foam. I think I finished them with Mod Podge at least, but they look a little, yeah, cheapo. This at the top tucked in, you can see where you can see the serge. I think it's snapped into place somewhere. Ooh, I did do a nice French seam on the sleeves though, because you can see the seam. I just did a French seam. Looks really nice. Bottom of this is finished actually, but this is pretty nice. The hat, one thing oh, this got beat up big time. There's a lot of hot glue on this. Ooh, I could have been a lot cleaner with this. Yeah. Its structure is nice, but one thing I do remember about this was, proportion-wise, it was too tall. I would cut it down to about an inch off if I were to remake it, so it wouldn't look too tall, because that's one thing I remember not really liking about it. The other sleeve is in here. I made a pair of bloomers to wear underneath. I love wearing bloomers under stuff. Yeah, just the other sleeve in there and more. I got this part here. This came out right now. I really loved this cording I found for it. That was probably from Keyleth. And I just glued it onto some wire. And as long as you don't see the back, it actually doesn't look too bad. Let's see what else I have. Okay, these are, do I have this dress hanging up here? I do. This is Caitlin from League of Legends. I really like how this dress came out. It has a little petticoat underneath. Just goes right into it. It zips up on the side. Yeah, it zips up on the side with an invisible zipper, which I really like. Again, this is not boned. I should have boned this. To just give it more structure and support. But it has a little cute little tiny pleated skirt at the bottom. And just added the stripes at the top. I like this a lot. It's really clean on the inside. Wow, yeah. I did one thing I had to do afterwards is after I finished sewing it, it was slightly too big, or maybe when I went to wear it once it was too big, so there are two weird darts in the back that go right through the lining. Also, I really like putting fun linings and stuff. So that's kind of weird, but I think it was an adjustment that I had to make things work better. Here's some of the accessories, which, oof, man. So, I threw the shoes somewhere. Oh no, they're right here. So for the shoes, they are these like brown boots with gold tips on the gold toes. So I spray painted shoes gold, which is not holding up. Those will probably become shoes or something else. And then I had these like spat-like boot covers that were just a hot mess. This is where the heel went through. They never fit right. They never stayed upright. I had all these studs I put in. And this isn't lined, and if I lined it, these would probably stay in better. These kept falling out. So this definitely needed to be lined and probably a zipper instead of the Velcro. And honestly, I probably should have bought a pair of brown boots because I had this like seam on this, like right here, and I really wanted to get that like seam closure with the buttons. I really wanted to get that. I should have worn brown boots and put the studs in and painted the toes brown. But no, I had to do things the hard way, because I'm me. And then there's a whole bunch of these buckles that, there's a bunch of buckles on her legs and her arms. These actually came out kind of nice. Those helped hold it up. So that's my Caitlin costume. The best part about it, though, was it's a little, needs to be fixed with a little bit of heat, but the hat came out great. And that's because my mom made it. I mean, how cute is that? I love that hat. Okay, next, this is Donna from Doctor Who when I was through my Doctor Who phase. I really like this dress, and I think I'm going to put it up for sale because I did a really nice job on it. There's an invisible zipper on the back. Hem could be a little nicer, but whatever. The gold trim's added nicely as this little thing in the back, but if I am going to sell it, one thing I got to do first is, well, that one's, see, that sleeve is finished. I don't understand. Because that one's not. So I just got to throw that through a serger, and that'll be good to go. The top's lined. It's really nice. It's a pretty dress. I really like that. Alright. Next is, this is Zelda from Skyward Sword. Yeah. When this design came out, I really wanted to make it. I think I finished this before the game came out. So actually my friend Chelsea posted this on the other day because she made this dress around the same time I did. And she made it similar to me. We actually use the same fabric because this is like this perfect fabric. It's like a blue and purple cross weave that created just this perfect color. The texture is perfect. And it was $1 a yard. So this was probably one of my best fabric finds ever. So I went through and sat and stitched everything. I think she did a similar thing, but she said if she were to remake it, she would redo this using the fusible vinyl that's out now, and I think that would actually be a better look, a better approach. This is, yeah, that is craft foam and a painted gem on the front, which isn't bad. I have a nice facing on the front. One thing I don't have, I don't know, I was thinking there is no zipper, no closure whatsoever. I literally pull this over my head and kind of like squish into it, which is dumb. I really should have put a zipper in it at some point to make it easier to get in and out of it, but sometimes I'm lazy. And then there's a bunch of accessories, but here's one I really like. This was The thing she wore it on her side, sorry, it's all wrinkled. So this I just heat and bonded. It's starting to fray at the side, but it's actually staying on pretty well. I had thought about possibly satin stitching it, but I never did, and it's actually staying on pretty well. A little bit of fray check would help with that, no problem. And then I got like really nice miter corners on here too. I probably had to zip pocket to the dress, but one thing I probably could have done was add a little pocket to the back of this and then have a little pocket on the side. That would have been cool. Alright, last one I'm going to go through is, this is pretty old. This is my Misato from Evangelion. So this is a basic black dress made out of pretty cheap black fabric. Yikes. Again, before I learned how to do my ear corners, and the white's getting a little stained here, probably from makeup. That collar is actually nice, stands up pretty nice, and it is finished. One thing I don't have, and I do this all the time, is I don't have a closure in the back here for the neckline. Once the zipper goes up, I probably safety pinned it every time. I still do that a lot. Bias tape isn't bad here, could probably be a little better against knot line, but it is serged. I always had access to a serger as soon as I started cosplaying, so a lot of my stuff is serged, unless I was lazy and pinked it or something, or just to do the armholes because I'm lazy. But yeah, this actually is not bad. I probably just made the street from some kind of pattern. A little kick pleat in the back, and then the jacket. Imagine. My mom helped me a lot with this one. It's made out of really nice red twill. This was a good fabric choice, unlike that one. Ooh, it actually has shoulder pads in it. Yeah, my mom definitely helped me with this one because I never put in shoulder pads. This is actually... Did my mom just make this? Because this is like early for me. This is like 2008-ish. Yeah, I think 2008 because I wore it to pack. Probably the anime conference. Yeah, she must help me a lot with this because this is really nice. So this collar has a facing in the back with the jacket. This one I'm okay with not being lined because it is made out of such a heavy twill and hung really nicely. This is fuse closed. If I were to make it again, I'd probably just stitch it closed because there is already a lot of stitching going on. Yeah, everything on here is finished pretty nicely. I bet I could keep this and then just remake the dress and I'd be good to go. But yeah, this has a lot of good decisions on like the dress, which was a little questionable, especially the fabric. That's a crappy black fabric I used. It just, the feel of it isn't great. It probably doesn't drape well. It probably sticks to me a lot. It's just like a basic kind of polyester. Probably remake it out of, I don't even know, but something better. So yeah, this jacket's pretty nice. So that's just a few of the many costumes I've made over the years, and some things that would do better, some things that I did really well at the time. Let us know what some of your favorite old costumes are. I have costumes even older than this. I think I got rid of a lot of them at some point. But let us know what some of your favorite old costumes are, if you would ever redo them, or if you like them as is, if there's a costume you've been wearing a lot that still holds up. Because if you put a lot of like really great sewing techniques into your costumes, they will last a lot longer. So like some of the unfinished seams I have, for example, those will fray away. But if I do finish them, that costume will last for a long time, and I can wear it probably forever if I take really good care of it. So we will see you next time with our month full of year in review stuff. So we'll see you later. Bye!